how weird is it when you have a couple of postponements and you end up playing once in a fortnight?
It's been very frustrating, with the World Cup being on and itching to get out there and play, and having a few postponements has been, as we say, really frustrating, especially when we haven't planned to have a break. I know the Championship clubs and the Premiership clubs, this has been on their agenda for quite some time. So to have a postponement against Port Vale and another one due to the FA Cup and one thing and another, it's become very strange for us, because it would have been better if it was planned, as Blackburn and Barnsley have had that time to regroup and assess things. So we just have to see what's in front of us, plan for them day to day, and get on with it, really.
Can you take anything from the form that you have shown, albeit in a period where it's been very stop-start, or does it, because you've not played many league games, almost feel like a little break and start again?
Yeah, we've had a few cup games, we've had a few positive results in the cups, and we've got a busy January coming up, but that's January. We've still got, I think it's 2 games before then, a great home game against Barnsley and a local derby against our rivals Morecambe before we go to Derby County on the 2nd of January. It has been stop-start in the league. We do need to get our cup form on the league table and get us away from that bottom. But it's very interesting, and it's a great time for Accrington. We're batting on 3 fronts. 1, to pull away from that bottom of the league, which is most important. It's more important than the other 2, really. 2, to get to the 4th round of the FA Cup, which is great for the club and financially could be really beneficial. And the 3rd one is what me and John and everyone at Accrington, all the supporters, have always dreamed of, is to get to Wembley, which we're 2 games away from. So it's a great time for everyone connected with the club. But as you say, we need to get that cup form transferred into the league and pull away from that bottom.
It is unusual to still be in 2 cup competitions going into the new year.
Yeah.
Is there any danger that not necessarily detracts, but maybe distracts from the league games when the cup competitions are becoming, business end of the competition, like in the trophy or possibly the 4th round of the FA Cup? Can that take your eye off league games, and how do you stop that happening?
It's very difficult, because I've always noticed that teams who have great cup runs, FA Cup, EFL Trophy, the league form seems to dip. So that's one that I'm very, very wary of, and we will do everything we can to make sure that these league games, our cup finals, are bigger than the actual cup games. It's going to be very difficult, but it's as I've just touched on there, it's great for the club. And playing your Barnsleys, Derby Counties, the cup finals, all these teams, sorry about that, all these teams are massive teams in our league, and they are literally cup finals, and I know the players love playing in them types of games, the Sheffield Wednesdays, the Ipswiches at home. They've been great games. I know we've come out on the wrong side in both of them games, but they do love playing them and they give their all.
How do you assess the league table? I think Derek Adams said a few weeks ago that it looks like 3 leagues in one table, and there's maybe a bottom 8 that you've got to try and finish top of. Would you concur with that?
It has panned out that way a little bit. I still think the form that we've been in, the way that we've been playing of late, I still think we can pull away from this bottom and get not top of the bottom 8, but certainly in the middle of the 2nd tier, and that only comes with getting results. Home form is going to be crucial. The Morecambe game is going to be crucial, and I've got one eye over my shoulder looking at the form of MK Dons and other teams. Morecambe are battling away in there, so we need to just concentrate on our own games. Certainly the Morecambe game is going to be massive, I know that, but it's going to be no bigger than Barnsley at home. You get 3 points for both games.
Traditionally, home form has been the bedrock of everything you've achieved, basically.
Yeah.
The last time you won a home league game was the 1st of October. Is that a concern?
What year was that? Is it that far back?
Yeah.
No, I've always said our home form has been rock solid. How many games would we have played after that?
I think it's been 4 since.
4 since, and we haven't won at home for 4 games. Well, that's not good enough, is it? You say it's not good enough. You've got to then look at the teams and the way that we played, and it's been very positive. Our home, not form, but the way that we've played, and I know we keep on playing that with the way that we've been playing. We'll certainly pick up more points, but it is home form is massive. I know our away form has been better, which is a bit different to what we usually have here at Accrington. We usually struggle away from home and pick up most of our points at home. But looking at the fixtures that we've got coming up, a lot of them are away. So who knows where we're going to go.
I said to Liam Coyle earlier, is there a bit of frustration that the away form is better? Because if you had the home form you had last season, you'd probably be right up there. Yeah,
it is. But you've got to look at the way that we've played and who we're playing against. And there's certainly big teams who are all up the top of the league. The last 4 or 5 games at home in the league. But we've got to pick up points. It doesn't matter where you pick them up. We've got to pick up points, and it starts against Barnsley, certainly, who are going really well, and it's going to be a massive game before we go into them 2 away games. So we've just got to concentrate on Barnsley, get what we can from that game, and move on to the Morecambe one. Michael Duff seems to really be getting a tune out of Barnsley now, having gone there and leaving Cheltenham. They've won, I think it's 5 or 6 of their last 7 games. It's 6 out the last 7. How formidable a prospect is that, and what kind of a job is he doing there in what is now his 2nd managerial job? Yeah, I know Michael quite well. I've done my coaching badges with him a long time ago. There's a song in there somewhere, isn't there? And he's done a great job at Cheltenham. He never hit the ground running at Barnsley, but he has now got a tune. And it's going to be a big game, but it's one that we relish. It's one that we really look forward to. It's one I know we can win. I've looked at a couple of the games and I've picked up on a few things where we think we could hurt them and certainly score a couple of goals from. So it's going to be interesting. But he's done a great job at Cheltenham, and he's now starting to get a little bit of form at Barnsley. Maybe this break, certainly for us, will be in our favour, and we'll go at it exactly the same way as what we do every home game here. Why is Boxing Day football different / special? It is. It's a time for all the family to come out and support. You're looking for something to do as well, and it's a community club. We do absolutely everything for the fans, and I know the fans love coming. And it's just one of them times a year that you associate with football, Boxing Day, New Year's Day. I know our game's being moved to the 2nd of Jan against Derby, but them 2 days are iconic in football history. And just to touch, I've been against the way that winter football is played at the lower leagues. And I've always been for, having spent a little bit of time over in Ireland with summer football, I would love, and I know it's a debate, and a debate for everyone, but I would love to see summer football. I think that would be a great time playing your games May, June, July, but that's another thing. Boxing Day, I still would miss Boxing Day football and New Year's Day football. I know there's 3 games in such a short period of time. And it's you look back over the years and you love, but you'd also look back and say a lot of these games get called off at this time of year. So it's a debate, and it's a great debate. But I would be for summer football, but Boxing Day football is great, Dan. As far as
time is concerned, there's been a lot of talk about December, New Year, maybe as a target for a couple of players that are longer-term absentees. Talk about people like Michael Nottingham.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sean McConville's been added into that list
Yeah.
recently. Are you hopeful of getting any back in this busy period? You mentioned January is extremely busy, and there's sort of a week or so of December where you've got 3 games as well.
Yeah, Michael Nottingham has been a big miss, and I would say, hopefully, fingers crossed, he would be 2-3 weeks away, at the most 4. I'm hoping. Sean McConville, I would say, would be 10 to 14 days. So we're hoping to have them back in the new year. We've got Josh Woods, who's trained the last couple of days. He'll be back in contention. So we're starting to get them back, dribs and drabs. Come January, will we have funds to bring 1 or 2 in? Andy has said yes, but we've got to do a little bit of wheeling and dealing with players who are on the fringe, one thing and another. But hopefully we'll bring 1 or 2 in. Hopefully we'll have 1 or 2 back. Hopefully we'll move from strength to strength, and January you'll see us moving up that table.